Is the JT-4000 micro from Behringer any good for DAWLESS? That's what we're going to be asking ourselves the question today. And to help us answer that, I've put together a quick setup which includes a Tascam audio interface, which has an orange cable connecting the audio interface and the JT-4000 together. We have a USB-C cable plugged into the JT-4000, which is also connected into this USB-C hub. The white cable, you can see it towards the bottom, that's actually connected the audio interface also into that USB-C hub, and then finally that's all plugged into the iPad. Software run on the iPad is called MiRack, which is MiRack. This is a lightweight port of VCV rack for the iPad. It's about £15, which is not the cheapest app, but I think it represents good value for money because it is nice and lightweight and offers really good performance. I'm running this on an iPad mini 6th generation, so it's far from the most powerful iPad on the market. Oh, and the final thing to mention before I go and have a look at the patch on the iPad is that the iPad is powering the JT-4000 micro. The Tascam digital recorder, however, does need batteries to operate in iOS mode, but it just needs a pair of AA batteries. So all of this is totally mobile, and I'm actually running this whole setup outside. Within MiRack on the iPad, the patch is performing a few core functions, and that is to send MIDI signal and MIDI data to the JT-4000, but it also receives the audio signal from the JT-4000 and processes it with a bit of reverb and delay. The other thing I've got set up is this master recorder just before the audio output, and that's taking a WAV file recording of the performance that's been generated. The Sec4 sequencer in the middle is creating all of the note information. So there's 4 notes which are being generated by those 4 dials in the middle, and that's being quantized by the quantizer module in the bottom right hand corner, and then the gate information is being generated by topograph. This is a relatively straightforward setup, so where the note information to the pitch information and the gate information are separate to one another, thereby giving a slightly more interesting rhythmical pattern. I mean, this video is not really intended as a primer for MiRack or trying to get used to VCV rack. There are others videos out there that will go into a lot more detail about how this modular system works, but if you're familiar with these concepts, some of this should look pretty straightforward. All in all, this took about 20 or 30 minutes to put together, so it's reasonably straightforward. It's entirely mobile. There's a few cables, both virtual and physical, but it's quite a straightforward setup. And the reason I decided to use the JT-4000 and try this out is for 2 main reasons. And that's one, because of the processing power of the iPad mini is not that great, and so I wanted to offload some of that onto a piece of hardware. The other is I really like the sound of the JT-4000, especially with the analog filter. And that works really well in a hybrid DAWLESS setup. So being able to send MIDI data over USB-C is really convenient in this instance, and being able to feed that audio back through MiRack opens up a lot of creative potential in a very, very small footprint, the kind of footprint that can just fit in your bag. So in conclusion, if you have an iPad, especially if you have a USB-C iPad, and you are looking at a way of expanding its sound palette, then the JT-4000 is a decent option, especially if you have some way of connecting the devices together. So USB-C is one part of the puzzle, the other is definitely an audio interface that can connect into the iPad. For me, that's the Tascam digital recorder, because it's a device I have already. Right, so let's see what it sounds like. So let us know if you've had any similar thoughts, or you've done any similar experiments, especially if you've had any different experiences to the ones I've been having, good or bad, you know, it's all interesting stuff. And if you're interested in the Behringer JT-4000 micro, then have a look at this video.